If I can break in and follow up very briefly, you both did a real good comprehensive job of answering the first part of my question, and I guess my question was too long and convoluted, so let me ask the second part of it again. Is there any circumstance under which you would vote to increase legal immigration and guest worker programs?
I guess that's my...
You can go and then
Okay.
Bob can follow up.
One of the problems we have in this nation is we have overregulated a guest worker program that actually worked. I went to South Georgia. In fact, when we were looking at immigration in the state of Georgia, I just didn't want to haphazardly just take the front line to make the news saying I'm supporting this bill because we knew it was popular. We went and spent a week on the border learning the problems that we were having. When I came back, I went and I spent a day with South Georgia farmers to learn the problem. We have put so much red tape in the guest worker program that it no longer works for our farmers. We should have a workable guest worker program, one like we used to have before this administration started tinkering with it, one where the farmers would basically submit to ICE and how many workers they need. The foreign workers would submit to their governments. They would do a background check. The farmer goes to the border. He picks up the workers. He brings them back to the farm or whatever business it is, provides them with a place to live, a way to make their meals. And when their work period is over with, they are responsible to take them back to the border. What's happened is we have so mired this program with red tape and bureaucracy that many of those guest workers are afraid they're not going to get back into the nation. So they stay here. Thus, it adds to our illegal immigration problem. We must have a guest worker program that works. But let me tell you, if we were to enforce the laws we have on the books as they are now, which our president seems to just ignore most of the laws, we can fix most of the immigration problems without new legislation.
I'm not sure I heard an answer in there, but let me try and do a little clearer job of answering your question, Joe. As I mentioned in the answer to your question initially, we do need to bring our federal laws regarding work permitting and visas into the 21st century so that they meet the needs of 21st century businesses, not late 20th century businesses. And if that means adjusting and looking at the number of immigrant workers who want to come into this country lawfully under a work permit or visa in certain areas ought to be increased, then absolutely we ought to. And they may very well need to be decreased in other areas because those are not the areas that businesses now, as opposed to the 1980s, needed people. That's what we need. I was on the phone just last week with a friend of mine who owns a very successful landscaping business that landscapes in the entire Atlanta area and other states. And he was saying he wants to hire people. He wants work. He wants to bring tax revenue to Georgia. But because the laws, as they are currently crafted, do not allow him to bring in sufficient numbers of workers from abroad legally to meet that demand, he can't do it. So he's losing business. The community is losing tax resources. That's a perfect example of what needs to be done to even out our work permitting and visa system. And if in some areas we need to increase them, then yes. That is business-oriented, that is pro-American, and it's pro-business, and we need to do it.